is 50, bro. This one is 50.
50?
Yeah, it knocks you
No
out.
fucking way. Bro, I
So
had to take a nap yesterday. I went and shot a video with a Zin in my mouth, and I was like, so I immediately passed out after.
point. So it's oh
Yeah.
hell yeah, the swearing.
You gotta
Got some
have
skills,
sword
my
just in
man.
case. Like, don't you dare no show me. Yeah, bro. So love it. I just figured let's hop on here and I'll see if I could work some magic into your sales process. Show you some stuff that is pretty cool that my buddy David and I have been working on. I think what might make sense is to maybe start with what you're doing now and like how well is that working? Like overall, what would you say is your closing rate on a given sales call? Like
Well, I would say it's like a 30% closing rate. Could be higher, to be honest.
yeah, cool. I'll take some notes on this little iPad thing and then share my screen in a second. Um, cool. So what 30%? So what kind of price point do you charge? Does it depend or do you have like a standard package?
There's like a standard package for 6 months, 4.4K preferred upfront, but there are like installment possibilities. And yeah, for the
6 months,
bi-monthly,
4.4.
yeah, 4.4K for the bi-monthly, that's 1.7K for the two payments. So every 3 months, that's 2.5K, and monthly, that's 900. So if they pay monthly, it just changes the LTV to 5.5K for 6 months. Yeah.
Equals 900. Okay, so they get what would that be? Math's not an exact science. Fucking run the numbers here. So 900. So they get like $1,000 off. Basically, they get like a free month if they pay for 6 months upfront.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If they pay upfront, yeah.
Cool. All right. Um, and then how many people would you say? What would you say is your cash collected like of you know if you close 10 people, how many of them are paying in full? Or what would be average? Like they pay like in installments. A lot of them pay in full.
Well, the most typical is that they pay in installments, and the most frequent is the monthly one. Uh,
Okay.
that was one
Like
guy by monthly. Yeah, I think.
out of like 10, was it like one or two pay in full maybe or like
To be honest, out of
nobody
10,
does?
like nobody does. Nobody does. So like the most preferred ones are the 3 part, 2 part, and monthly.
Cool. What about back end? Do you re-sign them? Do you resell them into anything or
Oh yes. So I have currently like two clients who I resigned for. One of them for another 6 months, the other one for another 3 months. So yeah, so I'm trying to retain as many clients as possible.
okay. So you
Oh,
have a
actually, I
decent
retained
personal
one.
brand, right? I would
Um,
say you do.
it is being built. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm curious. So the people that come jump on a call with you, like they already know what you're all about, or are you like cold DMing these people? Like how warm are they?
Well, it depends. It depends on a lot of factors, but I think most of them are like well nurtured because they either come through content. Through content, they come to my Calendly. The
Yep.
Calendly sets up automations, automated emails. They watch my video before hopping on the call. They read my story before hopping on the call. They read one case study at least before hopping on the call. Or that's also not uncommon that they are already members of my like Telegram community, which is
Okay.
like more private. I share more stuff there, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
So
sometimes I just write a cold message, and they come to the call completely warm. So they can cause some surprises sometimes.
okay.
So one of my newest clients, he came from like an outbound cold DM, and now he's one of my best clients, to be honest. So It really depends.
Cool. What are the three? So you send three videos before they get on the call with you, like a case study, your story, and then you have another video, or is it all in one? Or
So it's like one video and like two written emails.
one video plus? Okay, awesome, dude. So what did you say? What would you say is like the biggest reason why the closing rate is like 30% and not higher?
Uh, Probably lack of practice, I would say. So with a more consistent lead flow, I probably could get more practice. And also it's like a marketing issue. I still have to like I'd say increase the status of my content so it only attracts people who are like more high end, which is of course in this niche because fitness appeals to everyone, regardless of their financial background. But there are still some tweaks I could make with my content, with my marketing approach. That would be more like not a fish net, but a whale net. So that would be my approach in the future. And that could probably, and also like the filtration methods. I think my closing rate could go up if I would filter more prospects who are like not financially fit for the program.
Mm.
These are just rough estimates, which I think are true.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Interesting. I'm just going to circle some areas that I find interesting. We can talk on them. And then when you pitch your prices, do you give all the different things? Do they know before the call? I assume most of them probably don't know what the price is before the call, right?
I'm
Or
not,
do they?
not even knows. They just know that it's not cheap. I say it on the video as well, and also in the Calendly questionnaire that I stated that coaching with Abris is not cheap,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
And yeah, exactly. It's not a one size fits all program.
Mm, okay. Amazing. So, I mean, 30% is like not horrible. 20% would be like average. 30% is like pretty good, but I think as the business owner, you should be over 50, 60, 70, 80%, if not 90, especially since you're not completely like you have a nurtured audience, right? So we can definitely talk about that. It sounds like you have good pre-selling stuff. So they're coming to the call knowing who you are, what you do. They like you. They're in your shit already. They're probably getting results or value from you already. And but the only thing is like, are we pre-qualifying? Are we like filtering out the whales versus the minnows, the fish?
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm curious, like, how are you pitching your price? Like, let's say that we just spoke. Do you give all the options? Like, okay, we could do 6 months for 4.4. We could do 3 months for da da da. We could do this. That.
The final sentence, what I say at the end of my pitch is that the investment will be 4.4K dollars for 6 months, and then I shut up. And I'm just waiting for their response, and we get into the nitty gritty details after that. So if they have like a less serious price objection, and the only concern for them is like paying upfront, then of course at some point I pull up the possibility of paying an installment. If they have like a
Yeah.
more serious price objection, I go deeper into the nature of the objection. We figure it out, and usually then they pick the monthly option.
Mm. Okay. Cool. Um. So walk me through like your like the discovery then. So like what kind of questions are you asking these people to kind of build up the urgency, the need, the value? What does that look like? Do you have like
All
a
right,
script?
so kind of like in the first couple of minutes where we just build rapport, and then I state that I'm respectful of their time, so let's get into it. So first of all, I claim like how this call is going to work.
Yeah.
I will be asking about this and that, and from what I gathered, you're struggling with this and this and this. Is that correct? And then I dig deeper into how does that make them feel? How does that impact them? How does that impact their family? Have they ever asked for like any additional help with X, Y, and Z? Um, so they reveal this stuff, and then I kind of like widen the gap. So what if we got rid of this and this and that? What would that do to your life? How would it change? What would that do to your family? And so on.
Mm.
And we talk a lot about what would be the ideal state, what would be the end goal. And once we figured it out, I kind of like recap the whole thing. That so you
Yeah.
want to do this and this and this, but this and that are holding you back from getting to the end goal. So you're not able to, then I say the results of the end goal, like the secondary consequences. And
Yeah.
when they say, yeah, you're completely right and stuff like that, I get into the offer itself. So if I think that at that point they are a good fit because the pain is big enough, I start talking about just very briefly that, okay, we are going to solve X, Y, and Z with our demi-cycle protocol approach, which is based on three main pillars. And I talk about the three pillars of my program. And then I ask for permission. Is it okay if I walk you through our step-by-step process? And if they say yes, I show them basically my sales deck presentation, which mainly talks about
Mm.
benefits, shows a lot of testimonials and how the training app works, and just three shorter slides about the bells and whistles, because yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. And after
Mm.
that, I say that I claim like there's three big things I'm asking for from them. Number one is just dedicate 2 to 3 hours per week to this program. Would it be a problem for you? Does it sound fair enough? And of
Yeah.
course, if they agree, I go for the second point to be a decent communicator, respond within 24 hours. And then the third point is, yeah, basically, if any problems or any questions or concerns come up, communicate it as soon as possible. And if we go through all of these 3 points and they say that, okay, I'm in, then I'm going to pay you the price, basically.
Okay, awesome, dude. It sounds like you're doing almost everything really good.
By the book.
Um, by the book, yeah. I didn't hear any like consequence questions. Like, do you ask any like a cost of an action?
To be honest, not really. That might be the reason, yeah. So I'm never asking like what would happen if you would not do this and that. But actually, yeah, that's a good angle, good idea.
Cost consequence questions, like they increase your closing. They've been shown in many different industries to increase closing percentage by 30%.
Oh, that sounds good. Let me note this down very quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna record it. I'm just gonna share a bunch of stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
dude, I like it. So there's a lot of stuff here. I feel like almost everything is like really good. Oh, I forgot to ask, what is the framing for this call? Is it like a discovery call? Is it like an application to work with me call? Is it a demo? Like what? How do you
It's
frame it?
discovery call. Discovery call. In my setting
One call
script,
close or two?
one call close. There were occasions where it was not set up as a triage, but it ended as a triage because, yeah, because of time constraints, or they couldn't
Hmm.
overcome the I need to think about it objection, stuff like that. But in the end, they booked another call and I closed them on the second one. But
Yeah.
usually that's a one call close or a one call no.
Yeah, I love that. And then you follow up with these guys at all, or are they just in your
Of
pipeline?
course, of course. So anyone who didn't say a hell no to me, just came up with
Hmm.
some bullshit objections, they are all being nurtured afterwards, even month after that, because I know that at some point down the line, maybe in January, when all of these motherfuckers start training,
Yeah, yeah.
they will probably come back.
Cool. What does that look like? Just emails, or you just hit them up occasionally, or is it like a mix of things? Your Telegram, or
It's mostly Telegram and Twitter DMs because kind of like I set it as an expectation for the call to be connected with me on Telegram before we start the call. So with like at least
Okay.
90% of my prospects, we are connected either through Telegram, or for those who don't have Telegram, we connect through WhatsApp. And yeah, I keep communicating with them there. Of course, not every day, but maybe following up every week, and you're just starting a conversation.
I'll walk through this thing. This is a cool way to pitch and sell. Where are my notes? Actually, let me first of all run through, I guess, my sales flow. I'll just show you how I kind of approach the call. So I was just kind of like jotting down some notes here. This is like kind of like the process as I understood it, and kind of like what's going on right now. You can see this, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Cool. I guess the other thing I forgot to ask is like, I guess you said inconsistent leads, you're not getting much practice. Like how many calls are you getting per week right now on average?
On average, I would say 1.7, kind of like that.
Oh, fuck.
Not too
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. We found the fucking problem, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can have the best sales skills in the world, but if you don't have the volume, do you ever find yourself kind of being like, oh man, I really got to close this guy. I haven't had a call in the past like week and a half. Does that ever come up? Like, how would you rate your own
Not anymore, not anymore.
lead?
So lately, I've been like much more stoic about it because, for example, in September, I had a bunch of calls lined up, but since I started like uh, a much more strict filtering, now I can understand that why I don't have as many calls as I had before, because I'm more selective about my leads. But of course, with this tight pipeline, we can see that I'm not getting too much closing practice. So whenever I have some
Yeah.
extra free time, I'm just hopping on like mock sales calls with my fellow coaches, and we do stuff like that. But it's never like a real sales call.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, first things first is we need to we got to optimize what we got now. So, I mean, if I were going to follow a really simple sales frame, I mean, like the easiest call flow in the world is basically what you're doing with. I would just add maybe another question or two, but you're doing most of it right. Like you have a bit of small talk, small talk, small tack, small thank you in Danish. You
Small
know,
talk. Yeah.
yeah. Which is good. It's like it's good to not get too caught up here because you want you want them to be like, okay, like there's a danger of getting into the friend zone right away from the beginning if this goes too long. All right. And then in the agenda, what really helps is setting up like a track, like giving them a sense of control, but really setting like the track for the call. So if it's good, you get control. If it's bad, you you go off track. And so really quick, like what that looks like, I say, hey, great. So for this call, I mean, I understood a bit about your situation from our conversation before. So I really want to cover like three things. Number one, two, and three. Number one, I want to get clear on like where you're going. Right. The more precise we have in like the destination, the easier it'll be to like reverse engineer a plan to get there. Does that make sense? And they go, yeah. And then I want to know about what's going on right now in your fitness or in your health and fitness journey, whatever. Let me make this a bit smaller. And like, I want to know what's working, what's not, what's broken, see like, basically how is it right now? Kind of setting up the point A to point B. And then finally, I want to know what are all the roadblocks that you're coming across, which are slowing you down, getting in the way, or stopping you from getting from point A to point B. And then from there, we can come up with a game plan to help. Sound good? And they go, yeah. And you're like, awesome. And so the third piece here sounds like you're just kind of getting right into the goods, which is good. Like sometimes you can start chatting with people, which we don't want to have, but we really want to establish their need for you right away. So sometimes you can just go right into the question. So like, dude, what makes now? One, why did you reach out right now? What makes now the perfect time to get this? Or what makes fucking Zen give me a head rush? what makes solving this problem like a now thing versus a later thing? Like what's going on? And as soon as they explain that, I would say, okay, and of all the people, why me? Why do you think I'm the one who can help you with this? And let them sell you, because this right away sets the tone for the call. If you get good answers to these two.
Sounds interesting. What's because up? I always included this by the end of the script, so I never thought of bringing it that much forward, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean the typical call flow, I'll just write it out here, is like, what is the problem and the pain? What is obviously the problem is they want to maybe get bigger or lose weight, and then the pain is, how is that problem affecting them emotionally? We want the pain, obviously, and it sounds like you're doing a good job of that, right? You're probing. You said you're digging. You're asking them how does that make them feel? How is that showing up for their life? I'll show you some cool things that you could probably do. Like I would have a few different areas. Let me draw this out. This is them right now. Oops. What the fuck? They got a big beer gut. They got boobs. They're in their little prison here. This is them right now. And then where do they want to be? They want to be, hold on, let me make this. I like drawing stuff out for people because a good visual. If you have an iPad, it just makes things like way easier. Over here, they got guns. And so the whole call is like, how do we go from sad guy to happy guy? And like, I would just start thinking of different criteria where are so like the whole thing with the call flow is figuring out where is this pain showing up for them in their life, right? Which you're already kind of doing. You're mentioning their family, so that's definitely one. I would probably, the areas that come to mind for me are, like their state of being, I guess I would call it, like their overall confidence, state of mind, their health, their family or relationships. Sounds like you're already doing this, relationships. And then their work. I'm not sure what part of the call you're asking them about their work, but the two biggest objections for you are probably going to be money and spouse, right?
Correct.
And so at some point at the call, we can ask questions. Okay, so ideally when we're asking them about their pain, we want them to say something along the lines of like, it's causing me stress or tension. And then if they are like stressed, you're like, okay, gotcha, man. And like, I found the two biggest areas of stress are work and our relationship. So let's talk about your work. What do you do for work now? Does that keep you active? or sedentary, right? Like the biggest way to financially qualify these guys is to figure out what they do for work. If they're students, they might be broke. You know what I mean? And then you would ask them about their relationships. Cool. Are you married? You got a family? You got a girlfriend? What's that look like? If they're like, yeah, I just, there's just a lot of tension because I'm always under this pressure and stress and tension. Hold on. Where is that tension showing up for you? I know for many of my clients, the tension kind of manifests itself in their relationships. Have you noticed that? And they might say, yeah, like, and then you can have the conversation about the spouse up front. So what does your wife think about you getting in shape? Is she supportive? Questions along that line, because we want to like really eliminate the big three objections before the call, before the pitch, which are money. This is a clock, time, and what's the best way to draw this? Spouse. We want to like check these off, usually in this order, like 1, 2, 3. Anyway, but asking about these areas up front in the call, I would be like, okay, let's check in. So obviously the health, like we want tangible metrics, like what's your weight now? Most people want to lose weight with you, or they want to build muscle. Like what's the avatar? Muscle?
Say 70-30 weight loss and muscle gain.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. Okay, so what's the problem? Okay, and then next thing is like, what are you doing to solve it? What are you doing to solve or to fix the problem? What's your current approach? Current approach. Like number 3 is, can you guess what number 3 is? I'm not sure if you get this a lot, but people ever saying, I can just do this myself. So basically my third question in my flow is, why can't you fix this yourself? Or how long when you're chunking down, when you're digging here, I have this framework called the 4 horsemen of pain, which sounds cool. Sounds badass. So when you get to the pain, you chunk down a bit. The 4 horsemen of pain are impact. Like, how is that affecting? Where is that stress? That lack of confidence, that lack of energy, that sluggishness. Like, where is that showing up for you the most? Right? Where else? And kind of like spreading it to these different areas up here. Right? Their confidence, their health, their weight, their relationships, how they feel about themselves, their work. I want to dig into that impact, because this is the biggest miss for most people, but it sounds like you're doing a good job at this. The next one is duration. How long has that been going on? We want to like stretch the time so that they feel like, oh man, this has been going on for a long time.
Exactly.
Okay.
When they say anything more than a year, I also like amplify it a little bit and say that, oh wow, or already a year, that's more than a problem. That's more like a lifestyle. When I say this, they always get deep into themselves, and they admit that, yeah, I'm in deep shit.
Yeah, I would even hit them with some silence and kind of hold a bit of space for them and be like, a year, wow, that must be tough, something like that. Wow, that can't be easy. No, it's tough. We figure out the root cause. Well, like, what do you feel like is causing this? Oh, well, like, I don't know, whatever they say. And then a trigger moment. A trigger moment. Have you ever heard of that before?
Not quite much. What do you mean by that?
Okay, a trigger moment, you go, okay, was there a moment that happened recently which made you say enough is enough? Time to get my weight under control. What happened? You ask them for a memory. The reason why is because our whole goal is to get them into pain at first, right? And every specific memory is attached to an emotion, right? And when they relive it, when they retell you what happens, it raises their their PA, which is problem awareness. Okay, so these are the 4 horsemen of pain. Ideally, you should, but if you do this whole flow right, you shouldn't really be getting any kind of like, oh, that's too much. It should be strictly like, I just don't have the money right now. And then you can figure out logistically how to fix that. That's like the ideal situation. But without getting too far ahead of myself, why can't you, the third thing I want to know is like, why can't you fix it? Fix it by yourself. I basically want them to admit that either they don't know how to do it, they need help, they need accountability, they need something, right? Because if you don't get this one, they might, like, basically the whole idea here is like to close off all the doors that they could escape from in terms of objections. Why can't you fix it by yourself? So I didn't see this up here. That's a big one. Did you get help? So that would be my next question. Have you gotten help before? Right? If they tell you, oh man, I've been dealing with this for 2 years, well, what have you done about it? Have you gotten help? Yes. How did that go? Why do you feel like it maybe didn't get you the results that you were looking for? Or if no, like, why not? I'm curious, because that's a red flag. There might be like, I hate coaching, or I'm broke or something. Like, so you can get a lot of objections with number 4. Number 5 is, before we go into the payoff, right? Or the before we really like widen the gap and go into the ideal state. I mean, a lot of this stuff down here is widening the gap, right? How long has that been going on? Tell me more, really getting clear on their present hell. You know, they're on this part of their situation. So they might be like, I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm stressed. I low energy, whatever. Like, I'm just like getting them to like spill their guts, basically. And then I really would want to know, what would an ideal solution look like for them? You know, like, let's say that their goal is to lose 50 pounds. You might say, what are all the things that you feel like you would need personally to lose that 50 pounds? And they will just give you their buying criteria, bro. Right? If we're talking about our pitch down the line, I want to know exactly, like, I think of it like a lock and key. Like, they have a lock, and you basically ask them, what does the key look like to unlock it? And they might tell you, oh, I need accountability. A for accountability, I need like a plan, and I need like nutrition. And then that's what you sell them. And if you, it also, the best determiner of a future decision is how they made the decision in the past. So if they worked with a coach before, you would say, oh, amazing. That's great that you worked with a coach. I always encourage people. I'm never like, oh, like you shouldn't have went with him. I'm like, dude, that's so smart that you went with a coach. I'm so happy to be talking to someone like you, because you want someone to be in a buying state, resourceful. I'm curious, what made you go with that coach? What did you like about him? And they might just tell you from that question, oh, well, he had a lot of accountability. He had social proof. And he had like fun workouts, right? And then guess what? Now I know that when I'm pitching him, I'm going to be emphasizing these 3 parts of my program. Does that make sense?
100%.
If I'm going too fast, let me know.
Oh, it all makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot here. But so I basically get him to tell me how to sell him. Number 6 is talking about the payoff, or like the ideal state, right? And just like we have a problem here, which is logical, losing 10 pounds, you can't like ask a hard cost of inaction question about losing 10 pounds. It's just not, it's too surface level. You got to get to the pain, which is emotion. And so the ideal state, similarly, we need to get logically how much weight do you want to lose? And then emotionally would be like, what would that mean for you? How would your life be different? What would that allow you to do that you can't do now? Walk me through that. How would you feel? All those questions, super powerful, right? I feel like I'm missing something. You know what? In the frame here, the roadblocks, the way that I usually do it is like either their ideal state, or I'll ask how are things now. Usually there's like an emotional, when people jump on a sales call, even if they follow you, there's like, this is like their emotions. They're very much in the middle. And for you just to jump in and be like, hey, like, tell me how cool things would be if you were to lose all this weight, right? It's kind of like too much. So usually what makes the most sense is just asking them, going into the pain, how are things now? You know, getting them to open up and talk to you. The more they're talking and the more they're, right, if they're giving you one word answers, like, you better not pitch them because they're not going to close. But you got to get them talking, right? And so you just go, tell me more. Like, you're really listening. You're not just asking questions because it's the next question on your script, but you're really there with them, right? And then once their emotional state has started, they're opening up more. Then you can go to like, oh, like the ideal, and then boom, what are the roadblocks? We're creating this like emotional roller coaster kind of thing. But the ideal state's huge. Basically, once you fully get them to live this, it's like they can see it. You future pace them, like, how would that feel? Like, and then you can go back to these kind of like these pillars, I guess you could call them.
Exactly.
Pillars. And also in fitness, you have the 8 Fs. I'm not sure if you know what the 8 Fs or in 8 Fs in fitness are like finances, future, family, fun, fornication. There's a bunch of them. Friends, faith. There's all these different areas you can talk about. Like, well, how does your fitness affect you in these ones? And the reason why I like drawing is because, you know, I could probably just make like maybe like a square and be like, okay, cool. So I found there's like 4 parts to people's 4 main parts to their life where their fitness tends to affect them, right? And then explain them, like, your being, like on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your overall sense of well-being on a day-to-day basis, or a sense of confidence, right? And then on your family life, how does your weight affect your family? 10 is like, it comes up all the time, like your kids are calling you fat ass. Your wife is like, she won't have sex with you. Or sorry, that would be a 1. 10 is like, everything's perfect. And you get them to rate themselves, right? And then like at work, do you feel like your weight affects you? Not at all. Give yourself a 10. If it's making you lower in performance and stuff, give yourself a 1. Like, where would you rank yourself, right? And then overall, how would you rate your current health? All right. 10 is like, it's perfect. 1 is like, needs work. And then that'll give you a direction for the call as well. So anyway, once we kind of figured out up here in the ideal state, you know, like, let's say they want to have abs, they want regular sex from their wife, sex on the reg, they want you know, confidence, and then that will help them get promoted. You know, they get promoted because they have more energy for work or for their business. You're like, amazing. The more you can tie it into money too, that's like turning like a fitness offer into an ROI offer, like, that's huge. Because you could easily say, with your work, you know, scale 1 to 10, 1 being like you can barely focus, you have low energy, you know, you're not fully present at work. 10 is like, you're on point every single day. Like, where'd you rate yourself? And they might say a 5. And you go, okay. And you're making how much? Or no, before I'd ask that, I would say, okay. And like, do you feel like this is affecting how much money you're making? And they go, yeah. Okay. Well, like, how much are you making right now? Follow-up question. And they'll tell you, let's say, I don't know, 70K per year. Gotcha. And if you were to raise this to, let's say, an 8, what would that do for you? You think it would help? They're like, oh yeah, I might be able to get a promotion, or I might be able to grow my business more. How much more do you think you would make if you had that type of everyday energy? Oh man, I might make an extra 30K. So you would potentially get up to 100K per year. And they go, yeah. And you go, wow, okay. Do you believe that? You're not just telling me that because you want to sound cool. No, I totally believe it. Amazing. So what we just did is, it's not just about the health, but it's about an extra 30K per year. Right. And then the big thing here is, like, after we've fully fleshed out their ideal state, this is where the cost of an action question comes in, because it's time to like take it away. So, okay, well, there's a lot of ways. If you get the sense from this point of the call that they're not really invested in the conversation, that they're like, yeah, it's like whatever. Like, I'm not really that serious about it. I probably just straight up call that out and be like, hey, can I be real with you? Yeah. Can I play devil's advocate? And they go, yeah. Why not just say where you're at? Why not? Why even bother? And try to like get them to give you a reason. And if they're not giving you a reason, I probably end the call. But ideally, they give you really good answers up until now. A good cost of an action question. You could either straight up ask, or like, okay, well, walk me through what's going to happen if the next year is like the last year, or whatever their duration was, right? Like, what's going to happen if the next year looks like the last year and you're stuck in the same place? You know, you're still down here in this, fat body prison.
Yeah, that is pretty good because it hits out the price and the wife objection at the same time. Kind of like this. Yeah.
Yep. And you want a good answer.
Yeah, I want to
You
hear
don't
that.
you don't want to just be like,
Okay.
oh, it'd be
Exactly.
whatever. You want something
Yeah.
that you can bring up at the end of the call as like ammunition, basically. So when I'm like pitching people, I keep notes like this. I'm like, what is the problem? What do they want? What is the cost of an action? And like, what are my pillars? How am I pitching this guy? Right? Because I tend to switch my pitch up and customize it to the person. Right. Well, you know how you told me that you have this problem. Well, the way that I solve that is through, you have this problem here. Well, the way that I solve that is through this. It's like the exact thing that they need. And you know how you told me that you have this thing here. Well, the way that I solve that is through this. And you know how you mentioned that you have, this thing here. Well, I have this, which is going to help you fix that. And they're like, oh my God. I was like, perfect. Wow. But I always write down what they say for the cost of an action so that I can reference it at the end of the call. But you can also do, like, you can set up, if a lot of people find cost of an action questions a bit, it's like, oh, it's like a high pressure thing. It's uncomfortable for them. So you can set it up where it's like, okay, well, like, we've talked about what's going to happen if everything goes great. And I love that. But what I found with my clients is that it helps to examine both sides of the motivational coin. And they go, okay. So is it cool if I ask you like a tough question? It might be a bit tough. And they go, yeah. Well, suppose that you do nothing at all, and like, so you can get permission, or you can do like a metaphor. So it's like, hey, if you were going to run a race, 100-meter dash, right? So at the end of the finish line, you have all this stuff that you want. You get the abs, the happy family, you got the money. Just running towards that race, you might run like let's call it, you might run that in 10 seconds. But if I were to release a whole bunch of hungry wolves after you, or tigers or something, you probably run it in 5 seconds. So for you, what is that tiger for you? What's going to happen if nothing changes? What happens then? And so, like, Cost of an action. That's basically different ways to set up a cost of an action question, right? And then finally, it's like, why now? I probably just ask them again. Sometimes if you go up here, I know I said why now, like it depends on your style and how you ask it, but sometimes if you ask why now, they just ask you like right away, what is your program? Like, I don't know. So like, I really want to know, like, okay, but like, why is this important to you now though? Right. Or you could set that up and be like, hey, okay, so if you could start getting these benefits down here, you know, all the things that you said you want in your ideal state, would you want those sooner or later? And I might even check in with them. I say, hey, what are you getting the most at, or like, what are you taking away from this call so far? What's the best thing that you take away from this call so far? And let them talk and say, okay, great. And if you can start getting these benefits sooner or later, right? Would you choose later or would you choose sooner? And they would go, oh, I would choose sooner. And you can say, okay, well, like, why is this important to you now, though? And again, you want like a really good reason because this is going to check off the urgency objection, right? The timing. They shouldn't hit you with like, oh, it's not a good time. And the last one is like, if it doesn't come up organically, I would ask them about their spouse, so that
Yeah,
we're really going through these before we get to the pitch, right? And so to kind of go back here, there's a few things. Like let's say we're asking them about their ideal state, right? If it's too intellectual, that's not good. You want them to feel like inspired. Like you want them to feel what it would be like to really lose that weight. Like it shouldn't just be like this obscure thing. Like really like walk me through it. How would that feel? Okay, cool. And then when we're talking about like how things are right now, their current reality, I guess you could say. You know, you could just have a normal conversation, but like ideally, like how you want them to feel is naked. Like like imagine they're just got completely naked, and they're just standing there in front of you, and it's like they're just showing you everything exactly where it hurts, right? You have a really powerful conversation. And for the roadblocks, I guess RB for roadblocks. If you do it wrong, they're comfortable, right? But we want to create some conflict, right? It's like, okay, we've established point A and point B, and the conflict is all the things that are preventing them from getting there. And then basically what you're doing, the transition, I would have the transition here. I find the best way, like you could just recap what they said, but the best transitions are like a diagnosis. You go to the doctor, it's like, oh yeah, I got a headache, and it's like, oh well, it's actually you have this like brain tumor here. And it's like, well, the real problem is that you just don't have this and this, and it's causing you to like. I would just kind of recap all this stuff. So it's like, okay, so you want to lose 50 pounds. Right now you're 238, or like let's say 240, and you want to get to 190. You want to do it soon, and the biggest thing that's standing in the way, the roadblocks here are, you know, number one, 1, 2, and 3. Is that about right? And they go, yeah. Okay, and you tried keto, you tried this, you tried that, and you said that they didn't work because of this. And they go, yeah, that's perfect. And then really, the interesting thing is like, if this is the pitch, like there's a piece before the pitch where we really want to get them, we want to get them to kind of pull. Yeah, I would say pull. I'll write it up here. What a lot of people do is they just start ramming their offer down the person's throat, but we want to get them to like pull the offer out of us. And so it was like, okay, cool. Like, what are you liking best so far? You know, are you comfortable with everything that we've gone over? Yes. It's like, oh, I really like this. Okay, yeah, I'm comfortable. Yeah, of course. Okay, where do you want to go from here? So, well, like, how can you help me? Ideally, we get
Yeah, ideally
permission.
at this point they are asking for it, right?
Yeah. You don't make the pitch before they're like, please give me the pitch. Like, they should give you permission at this stage, number 8. And then there's really six parts to the pitch. The one that I didn't hear you go over is, so like, where was your pitch?
Starting from benefits.
Starting here.
Oh yeah, promise
Yeah,
pillars.
you kind of like go over the promise. So it's like, we work together for 6 months. Da 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 da. Kind of share my pillars. Yeah. Da 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 da. And then you have a sales deck. I'm like, to be completely honest, like, I'm not a huge fan of sales decks because it takes away from the presence, you know, like you go from having a conversation to like, oh, now look at this. And I'm like,
Also,
so I'm not a huge
it
fan of
takes a
that.
lot of time to go through it, so I
And it
might
takes a
suggest.
lot of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
absolutely.
it like pushes at least like 20-30 minutes onto the sales call. So usually I have like a
Yeah,
ridiculously long calls.
100%. And so I did a pitch training on this. If I can send it to you later. It's on my YouTube, but the 6 pieces here. God, I can't write today. I usually like recap the problem, which is kind of like part of the beginning of my transition. I give them a prescription, right? And so if we think about it, like, we're talking about the why they need your help. It's like, okay, so you're having this problem, da 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 da, and the prescription is not the same as the pillars. If they're like, well, I need this, I need that, I need this, I just make it up on the spot. I was like, okay, so you need like a workout plan that will work for you. You need a nutrition plan that is something that you can stick to and it tastes good. And then you need a system of accountability and support. And they go, yeah, exactly. Awesome. Then I go into the promise. Okay, great, man. Well, that makes sense. Where do you want to go from here? I said, well, tell me more. I was like, okay, cool. Well, basically, if we were to work together, I would work with you for 6 months. And that's generally how long it's going to take for you to like drop the 25 pounds and then build the 5 pounds of muscle and then da 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 da. And I typically work with guys that are anywhere from like 35 to like 44, whatever their age range is. If they're older, I'll say like, I'll make the promise custom to them. You know what I mean? So if they're like a 25-year-old guy, I'd be like, I typically work with guys in their mid-20s to do exactly what they want. This should be like an exact fit. Any questions on that? No, that sounds perfect. And then I'll go over my pillars. It's like, okay, cool. Well, like, the first thing we do, and this kind of goes back to up here. It's like, well, you know how you told me that you have problem number 1? Well, the way that I solve that is through problem number 2, which will allow you to blah, 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 da, 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 da. And they say, oh, cool, awesome. And then the second thing that I know that you said that you're struggling with, you know, X, Y, Z. So the way that I solve that is through, you know, this thing here, which will allow you to da 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 without da 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 da. Like, is this like using like benefit language? You know, problem solution, problem solution, problem solution. And they're like, amazing. And then 3, 4, and then really the next piece is like the logistics. And so I used to like to like just kind of give them like a plan. It's like, okay, cool. We'll need like a custom game plan, how we're going to get you there based on your current, you know, schedule and all that. And we don't want cookie cut or anything. And then we'll need the workouts and the strategy and everything, and the tools, the strategy, tools, whatever. This is number 1. This is number 2. Number 3 is like the support and accountability. So whenever you get stuck, you basically just tell them how you help. But the way that I like to do logistics now is kind of like walk them through what they're going to experience. Okay, so like first things first, we're going to meet on Monday. After we get you your intake form, we're going to get you set up with the app like right away. So it's like the app. We're going to get you on Monday. We're going to start working out on Monday, and then by like week, like by day 7, you should already have done 3 workouts. You should already have dropped, 4 pounds. And then by like day 30, you should be here and you should be feeling this. Does that make sense? Like you're kind of like walking them through what they're going to experience working with you.
So like laying out the game plan over time, that what they can expect, right?
Yeah, like
So
a
it's
one-on-one
very
call. And
individual
then
to the
it's like, I'll
process.
check in with you on Friday, and then I'll check in with you, and then like we'll meet again on this day to like do this. And then by that time you should be having this results. And you're kind of like walking them through. You're not bogging them down with details of the how everything works. All right. So in the pitch, if the problem and the prescription up here are the why, the promise and the pillars are the what. The logistics, and I call the last piece the commitment phase. This is the how it works, what they do next. And it's broken up into 3 things. What I didn't hear you say that you do, we're to scroll up here. What I didn't hear you say is that, so you do the 3 commitments. After you go through the this, and this, you do the 3 commitments, which I like that. Time commitment, responsiveness, and run to me versus from me. That's how I would say it. Like if they get in trouble or whatever. My pitch is generally like I would add that, but first of all, I want to do temp check. You know what temp check is?
Yeah, like how warm they are, basically.
Okay,
So
it's specifically we want to eliminate any uncertainty objections.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, on scale, like based on everything we spoke about so far, do you feel like this will work for you? Yes. Why though? Why do you feel like it would? What do you feel like would be most helpful? Oh, well, I really like how you have this and this and this, and let them talk. And you're listening for their tonality. Like, oh my God, yeah, this sounds perfect. But if they're like, you can hear some hesitation and skepticism in their tonality, I would probably do like a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so like I heard some hesitation there. What's coming up for you? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being this sounds horrible. I hate Abris. Get me off the call. Haha. Fucking dangerous bastard. 10 is like I think this, like I can definitely see this working. You want to use like certainty language. Like I can definitely see this getting me to my goal. Where are you? And you can't say 7 because 7's a cop out. And like, oh, I'm like an 8. Okay, like an 8. Like, gotcha. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Why aren't you like a 4? Why are you so certain? You could say like that, or like, what's the difference between 8 and a 10? And then basically, I would want to flesh out any objections here before we drop the price. Right? Answer any questions. Another way to do the pitch, by the way, without going into your pillars, is you can do the promise, and then the question I like to ask is, what questions would be helpful for you to know? What questions would be helpful for you to know about how it works? And then I just keep asking this, and then I keep answering them. Oh, like, what about this? And then you just keep asking, what else would you like to know? What else? And if they ask you like 5, 6, 7 questions, they're probably 100% of the time going to buy. So what questions? Yeah. What questions? Okay, cool. This, yeah, this. What else? And when they run out of questions, you say, okay, can I ask you a question? This is like a super easy close, world's easiest close. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Okay. What are you liking most about what we spoke about so far? Oh, I really like about like dropping the weight and like becoming more confident. So yeah, are you looking forward to like dropping the weight in general, or like are you also looking forward to getting there fast, like not taking a year, but getting there in like 6 months or like 3 months?
Yeah.
Oh, both. I like both. Amazing. And if you could start getting those benefits sooner or later, would you choose to get them later down the road, or would you choose sooner? And they would choose, I would choose sooner. So, okay, great. And then you you could just like assume the close. It's like, okay, great. Like, how do you spell your first name? How do you spell your last name? And like, oh, they'll just start spelling out their name, and it's like, okay, great. So like most of my clients put the payment on credit card, Visa, Visa, MasterCard, or Amex. Which card will you use? Which one will you be using today? Oh, I'll do Visa. Yeah, because ideally, if you say, "Hey, what questions you have?" they'll be like, "Well, how much is it?" Eventually, but this is like a close. It's like the super simple close. To go back to the commitment phase, this is something I just teach people because it's easy to follow. After I temp check them, and I made sure that we eliminate any uncertainty objections. The next thing is the time commitment. Okay, can you do 3 hours a week minimum? Yes, I can for sure. Okay, great. And then the only thing we haven't spoken about is the investment. Do you want to go over that now? Yes. Okay, cool. So the way it works is we're going to be working together for 6 months to get you the result, which is dropping the 25 pounds. And the investment is, I would probably say it's 5.5K spread out over 6 months. Or if you prepay in advance, it's just 4K, 4.4K. So you save what would that be? It's basically $1,000, but what is the percentage? 4,400 divided by 5,500. Wait, that's not right.
It was like 20%.
They say 25%. You say 25% if you prepay in advance, or we can split it up. Which one would you prefer? Or any questions on how that works? And then you just shut up.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Wow. One thing I wanted to ask you, before I go through and over it in my head, that some of my fellow coaches, when they see that there is some kind of a price objection, but the prospect wants to get started, so the pain is big enough to get started, but they kind of want to hop off the call and not pay and forget each other because they are like in an uncomfortable situation. What they do is that they don't have him pay all the stuff or monthly in advance. What they do usually is that they ask for like a 25% deposit, and then they agree on a schedule of payments afterwards. So how would you frame that?
So someone has a price objection. Like, first of all, I would say, okay, cool. They're like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, not a problem. I like diffuse. It totally not a problem. That's cool. I'm curious though. Like, do you feel like this will work for you though? In your opinion? Oh, I do feel like it would. Well, why do you though? Well, because of this and this and this. Okay, so I'm just so that I'm clear then. Is it just a money thing? Is it just like more than you expected? Yeah, it just is. Okay, that's normal. All right. So just so I'm clear again, you're not in like a should I do this place, but more of like a how can I make it work? Like you do want the result of like
That's a great question.
this and this, right? Yeah, I just want to make it work. Okay. Well, dude. Well, I'm easy. So there's two ways to do this. You can either do an open wallet where it's like, well, I don't have any set payment plans, but usually I just do whatever is best for the client. Right. I just want to work with you and get the results. So I'm flexible. We can have an open, it would help if we just maybe had an open and honest conversation about where you're at right now financially, so that we can make the best plan, either something that can work today or we can plan for the future. Would you be open to that? Yeah. And then the open wallet is like, great. What's your cash on hand right now? Okay. What's your monthly income? Like monthly income. Okay. How much are you? Also, there's another thing called FASTER, like an acronym, which you can ask in the discovery, which is like, how much are you spending on fast food, alcohol, Starbucks, big sugary drinks, tobacco, entertainment, and restaurants. And typically you're like, how many times like at the end of the call, let's say it's like $900 a month, you might find out that they're spending $1,200 a month on all those things. And so it's like, okay, well, like if you look at this, so you said you're spending $400 on drinking, going to the clubs, another 500, you're smoking 2 packs a day. That's like, I don't know, $20 a day. So times 5, like you can add up the numbers. It's like, would you be open to reallocating the money from these bad habits, which are really not helping you? In fact, they're hindering you. Would you be open to reallocating that back into this so that we can get you those results that you want? So that's the faster, you can put that in there. But in the open wallet test, let's say you go through their monthly income, their expenses. Gotcha. So you're bringing in 5K. How much are you spending per month? How much do you have left over after bills? 1,500. Okay. And what do you have in the bank right now? Like, what's your cash on hand? Do you have crypto? You must have crypto. Yeah. Like, okay. And like, well, maybe it makes sense in your case to save some of that in case of a, emergency, if your car breaks down or whatever, if they have low funds. Like, what about access to credit? Do you have credit? And like, yeah, I got like $2,000. So it's like, okay, so you have $2,000 in credit card. You got 500, like $1,000 left over from after your bills, and you got $500 savings. So like, let's do this. Let's split down. Like, I don't know. I would just make a payment plan. Like, let's collect as much upfront as possible. I would try to collect 50% of your total fee upfront. So let's do 2,200. Like, I have a plan. It might be a bit tight, but remember, like, this is going to make you not only feel better, look better, get all the things that you want, but you're also going to be more productive, and it's going to turn into it's an investment into your health, right? Yeah. So would you want me to share the plan? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do 2,500 down. We put some on your credit card. We'll take some of your cash. We'll leave the savings in there or whatever. You have another 1,500 coming in like 4 days, right at the end of the month. And then 30 days from now, we can just split the rest of the payments up over the next 3 or 4 months. Like that's what I used to always do. Like, if I was sold for 6 months, I would try to collect all of it up front, like as much as I could up front, and then just split the rest evenly over the 5 months. So if it's like, let's say that your offer is 4,400 for 6 months, you collect half, 2,200 up front, and then 2,200 divided by 5 is like $440 a month. But at least you're getting most of it up front. And like the rest is like it's just AR. So it's like, it's way easier. So it's like, look, it's only $444 out of that. That's one option. Or the other option, rather than going through the open wallet, is like, cool. So this is something where you're like, how can I make this work? Yeah. Okay. Well, like, would it help if I broke it up? Yeah, of course it would help. What are they going to say? No, that wouldn't help. Yeah. What would that look like? Like, cool. We can put, I don't know, if you have set payment plans, so we can split it up into 2, or I can split it up into 3, whichever is easiest.
That's very good, because actually I could use both framework depending on how they fill out their questionnaire. So on Calendly, I get an idea of what their revenue is and what they are working or what their business is about, because I directly ask it on the questionnaire. So, when they hop on the call, I'm not clueless about their financial situation, because as I said before, I'm filtering hard. And once they get there, I think it's, yep. Go on.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
So yeah, I think after this point, it will be easy for me to decide, okay, what framework to use when I'm about to ask about finances.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing that you said is like, you're filtering hard. Whenever you ask like revenue questions, especially for a fitness offer, it's like, we know that we're going to get less calls. One of your problems is that you're not getting that many calls. So you might be like over filtering. It's a possibility. What else was I going to say? Fuck. I had 2 points, but the other one slipped my mind.
And I also forget what I was on about, but yeah, this was the first thing, the filtration, and yeah, just finding out what the revenue is. Of course, I'm not asking this directly. But it's like, I'm asking just the whereabouts of their financial, how would they rate their financial situation currently, and what their job is or what the business is that they are
Yeah.
operating. So let's say this is John, 34 years old, data scientist at Google. I will
Yeah.
know at this point, and he
I'm
describes that my
basically saying this
financial
guy's
situation
qualified.
is
I'm not even going to ask.
exactly. And if they also describe
Oh,
the person,
the other point.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
the
yeah,
other
go
point
on,
about
go on.
finances. Before I forget, there's two parts to finances. Do they have the money is one part. Do they have the money? So like they could have all the money in the world. They might make 300 grand a
Or
year.
they can
And the
have
other
access
part,
to the money, right?
yeah, access or have the money or know somebody has money. That's like one piece of it. The other part is willingness to spend it. And
Mhm.
so you can find people that have all the money in the world, but they're not willing to invest in their health. Right. And so
That's true.
just on the other side, you can find people that are broke, but they are, it's like, it's a priority for them. It's like, you know what? My dad died of fucking, he just died like 2 years ago from heart disease and he was overweight. And like, I have kids now and there's no way I'm going to let that happen. I work at Walmart, but guess what? I'll sell my car. I have to do this. There's no way I'm going to like, die 20 years early because I didn't take care of my health. You might have someone like that. And you're like, fuck, well, like, okay, let's do it. I'm not going to like deny you the opportunity to work with me because you have crazy willingness. It's better to have willingness than money in some cases because $4,400, it's like a lot of people can scratch that together.
Absolutely. That's my mindset about it too. Like it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's again, the more you can tie it to like either an ROI or like a cost of an action. So, um, if you can't directly do it with their work, like, oh, like how much more money do you think you would make with your business or your work? Is just like, how old are you now? Oh, I'm 34. Okay, cool. And how would you rate your current health scale 1 to 10? 1 to 10, like 10 is like perfect. You're who's the healthiest person you know? Like fucking David Goff. I don't know, like doctors are coming to you asking you for advice or something like that. One is like you are like on the verge of getting all these like crazy diseases. You're like, I'm like a 4. Oh, wow, 4. Okay, gotcha. And um, well, dude, what's going to happen if, or how long have you been a 4? Would you say? Oh, like the past 5 years, or like during COVID, I really let myself go, and it's just been getting worse and worse. Okay, well, in your mind, what do you feel like could possibly happen if the next 5-10 years, this trend that you're on, this is actually what I want to show you. I completely skipped it. So if you have a fucking iPad, you can draw it out. This is so good for selling. This is like a model for selling. Let me share my screen again. It's like my favorite thing to do. So if I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, okay, like this is a model. It's called the 4 futures. So okay, we're here. This is 1 year from today. This is 6 months, 9 months, 3 months, right? And like as I'm talking to someone, I'm like, okay, let's talk about ideally, like where would you like to be ideally 1 year from today? Tell me about it. Tell me all about it. And then I probably have like different categories. So it's like weight, maybe energy, or confidence, whatever is like. If you can think of a few kind of like key things that most people want, that you can just guide them through, like what would that be? Maybe productivity, maybe sex. I don't know, like their relationship. Tell me about that person. It's like, oh, like I'm like, I weigh this much. I have this, and like this is like the perfect world, right? And it's like, okay, cool, boom. So that's ideal. Now, if that's ideal, what would something that's like good look like? And so maybe if this is like them at 8% body fat, maybe this is them at like 12, and it's just a bit worse. It's like, okay, cool. So that's you there. Amazing. Now, what would like a poor outcome look like a year from now? Maybe you're declining. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not Getting better, you're getting worse. So what would a poor outcome look like? Maybe you're a bit fatter, you have less energy. That should say energy, whatever. Whatever, like a negative outcome would look like, something they don't want. And then, okay, tell me about a disaster. What's the worst case scenario? I'm like 50 more pounds overweight. I have pre-diabetes, whatever. My wife left me. Whatever they said. And you go, okay, this is the yellow line, and this is the red line. And then I would name them. I would say, okay, this is line 1, this is line 2, 3, 4. If we look back over your past 6 months, which line would you say that you're on? If nothing changes, which line have you been on? Well, I've been on line 3. I'm definitely on the poor line, Got it. Okay. I actually have a whole presentation framework for this. Where is it? Where is it? Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, the next thing would be, okay, if you're on the yellow line, is it fair to say that if we stay there, you're going to be in this situation? Oops. Why did it delete? And they go, yeah, okay. So the question is then, how do we get from 3 to a 2, or from a 2 to a 1? Or if they're already on the 1, let's say they really take care of their health, say, okay, great. So what if we can make your 12-year goals happen in 6 months, or maybe in 3 months? What if we can bring your bench press up to 3 plates over in just 3 months? So that's what I'm all about. Like, would you like to hear what it looks like to get support from me? Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. So I'm all about helping people get onto the green line here. Or if they're already on it, to just to time collapse the results and make things easy, whatever. So you can help both people. So this is like area 5. But the cool thing is like, it gives them a fucking like an oh shit moment. They're like, oh man, like they get a visual of kind of what's going to happen if nothing changes. And then I would say, listen, let's say that they're on the yellow, they're like below the line, they're on a yellow line 3, or they're line 4. I would say, look at this. Where these lines start, the closest they'll ever be is right now. Right? If we wait, the lines start drifting further apart. In 6 months, it gets that much harder to get back on track. In 9 months, the distance is that much greater. In a year, way up here, way down here, right? So really what this looks like is that we're really one key decision away today, one key decision to get you on the right line for you. And it's like, there's a whole like sequence that I have for going over this shit, but I've been talking so much that I've just been blabbing about stuff. But yeah,
that's amazing, man.
That's the cool stuff I wanted to show you.
That's amazing, bro. And also, I've been using something similar, but only I think my mistake in that could be that I only focused on the price when I use this kind of 4-path or 4 futures framework, because I always said it, okay, right now there are 4 scenarios we can go. And of course, I always start with a joke. So scenario number 1 is that you sign up for the program today, I take the money, I go to Las Vegas, I put it all on the blackjack, and I lose it in 1 day. Obviously, that's the less likely, right? And then I go for the next one. Scenario number 2, you sign up for the program, you achieve X, Y, Z, and in the end, would you be happy with that? Yes, they say they are happy. Okay, so scenario number 2, you're happy. Scenario number 3, you sign up for the program. For some reason, you don't achieve X, Y, Z, but you get 200% of your money, because I have a guarantee. I forgot to tell you that kind of like I have a guarantee, but that's also like being tied to certain conditions. But yeah, nobody ever asked me for a refund yet. So I guess the service delivery is on point. So
Yeah.
going back to the point, yeah, scenario number three, okay, you don't achieve the goals, but you get 200% of your money back, so you are happy. Okay, so scenario number four, you don't sign up for the program today. Fast forward 1 year, 2 years, you are this and this and that, you haven't achieved your goal. Would you be happy with that? No. Okay, so in
Yeah.
scenario number one and four,
How do we
you're
make you
not
the most
happy.
happy? Yeah.
Exactly. And there are only two scenarios where you are happy. Scenario number two and scenario number three. Do you remember what's common between scenario number two and three? In both cases, you sign up for the
Work with
program
me.
today.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I fucking close the deal. Yeah.
Let's fucking go. That's good.
Yeah. So that's usually what I've been using so far. To be honest, the only time I haven't been able to like close a price objection when they were so broke that they didn't even have the cash on hand to actually just get started with a monthly or something like that. So
Yeah.
usually they always at the end they were like, okay, fuck it, we bold, let's go with the monthly option. But you're right,
Yeah. Amazing.
I really need to, that would be also like financially much healthier for my business if I collected much more cash up front. That would be
It
way
would
more
be, yeah,
efficient.
it would be huge.
And they are also more invested if they do it like that.
1,000%. We, I mean, I'm not, as of today, it's my last day working with JK and Ryan. They switched
Oh wait,
to like,
you've been working in like how it's called, tweets and clients or likes and cash or
yeah,
what? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
for
so
the
you
past
were
year.
so you were just sales coach, right?
Sales coach, I was the closer, I was leading the team for the sales team, but they got rid of the sales team because they switched to this Google Doc model. But
Gotcha. And what's your offer right now, or what are you transitioning into?
yeah, dude. Well, my my thing, like my main thing that I like to do, that like I have a bunch of coaching clients for different things. Some of them like I got a few personal development little guys, and I got a few um coaches that I work with, or guys that have small sales teams. So it's like training them in sales. The other thing I've been like super interested about is pre-selling, but you already have most of that stuff in place, which is good, and the follow-up systems and stuff, which is good. Really, it's just like sales coaching for the most part. Um, yeah, I made this course like 2 or 3 years ago called Get Leverage, and I was like, you know what, this is like I already created this course, and I only sold it to a beta group, and I just never bothered to try to resell it. But I'm like, I have it. Why don't I try to resell it? So like, I have a lot of ideas, but the main thing is just the sales coaching.
Mhm. Do you have like a set direction or a set of goals for, let's say, the next 5 years?
Yeah, I want to like take over YouTube. I want to create a huge brand. I want to have a. I want to get out of coaching eventually and do something where it's like a fit like a soul broad esque brand where it's like selling health, like some type of health and fitness kind of stuff, like supplements or something. Like I would love that, like maybe esoteric health stuff. But for this business, I mean, I'm still debating. I'm still like in the ideation mode. I have an idea for like a low ticket community called the Cash Collectors. I have ideas for courses. I have the Get Leveraging. I have another thing. I was thinking of like a camera confidence fucking course. I have the coaching. I have an idea for like an agency. I have an idea for a SaaS as well, but I'm just like, I got too many goddamn ideas. So I'm
Yeah,
just going to
exactly.
work on one thing at a time, you know? And so right now, getting coaching clients, maybe doing, this stuff for other people, helping people set up their assets. So just that and just growing the brand, man. I don't have a crazy vision outside of that, just to become an ultra trillionaire and take over the world. But besides that, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I was just curious, like in your take or in your opinion, like what is the best vehicle for you right now to build wealth over the long term? Or what would you recommend, for example, for a fitness coach who wants to scale up later on and also take over the world, but not only with one-on-one coaching? Because I know there are like certain levels of this. I also have in my long-term plans to to launch
Yeah.
e-commerce brand, made mostly in pre-workouts. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like I'm 100% sure that in 5 years or in 10 years, I'm not going to be in the same vehicle. So what is your like long-term take on it? For example, from the perspective, for example, of a sales coach or the perspective of a fitness coach?
Mm. Well, I think regardless of what you do, it's like continuing to grow the personal brand because that gives you so much leverage of just constantly growing a bigger audience of people that know, like you, trust you. And so, grow that. You can start off with coaching and then maybe you add products. Maybe you add like a low ticket thing down the road. You could add masterminds or retreats. You could add whatever the fuck you want, like public speaking. You do books. Like there's so much stuff that could branch off of your personal brand. And so figuring out like what are the things that I'm most interested in, like your kind of sweet spot is like what are you good at? What do you like doing? And like what is the biggest problem that you can solve for people? And if those all match up, it's like that's what you should be focusing on because that's kind of like your purpose. Well, until you find out something better than that. But I mean, why wouldn't you do something that you like doing and get paid well to do it? And so something scalable. I mean, for you, like having like a high ticket thing, which you're doing now 1-on-1, but maybe like a mid ticket group program,
Yeah, 100%. We're thinking about that, and
and you just
also
start building that.
like a sellable course, which I'm gonna probably put together in the next 3 months. I mean, I already have like the material outlined based on my previous lead magnets and shit. Just want to record
Yeah.
videos for that, putting it together, bundle it, and that would be like the lowest ticket, like $180 shit. And for those who yeah, for the love of God, I cannot close, the real brokies, they could still take something from me and benefit from it. So that would be my lowest
Yeah.
ticket in a couple of months. And yeah, after a time, a middle ticket, like group coaching service, that would also make sense with like weekly coaching calls and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like numbers. So
Yeah, let's go
um,
for the numbers.
let's say that we want to make $1 million per year. Okay. So I learned something interesting. If you can sell, sorry, you can sell something where you get $20 profit, you need to sell 50,000 units. So it could be a book, right? Like if we move 1 0 over here and you sell something for $200, then you take a zero away from here, and then you only need to sell 5,000. So this could be a course. You sell something for $2,000, and you only need 200 units. Wait, that's not right. 500 units. That could be your mid-ticket program. Right? With me so far? If you sell something for $20,000, God, who would pay $20,000? Eh? Fucking high-powered CEO, or you can like work with them for a full year. Then you need 50 clients. 50 units sold in a year. What is 50 divided by 12? That is 50 divided by 12.
3.6 monthly or
Four,
something like that.
four, 4.16. You need 4 clients a month to round down. 4 units. So that could be like, high ticket year-long coaching or like high ticket coaching. Your high ticket one-on-one for 1 year. You're going to have to increase your prices at some point. You sell something for $200,000, then you only need 5. And I don't know what that would be. It's like, hey, you want to train a fucking enterprise. You want to sell like a fitness package to like an enterprise. I don't know. High level B2B or something like that. Possible. This could also be a $20,000 thing. It could also be an event. There's all kinds of different things you could do. You could do speaking for $20,000, depending on the event. It could be like a retreat, a high ticket retreat. It could be like speaking gig, if you get into public speaking. Mid ticket, $2,000. This could also be like a workshop or a course, like a higher ticket course. You know, it'd have to be like a pretty good one to sell 2,000. But what's this? Books, $20. Obviously, this could also be supplements. $200 course. It could be one-time payment, or it could be like a monthly community, where it's like maybe $200 per month. Then we're talking different numbers. Somewhere between $20 and $200 for like a community is a cool idea. B2B or government. Fuck. Creating some kind of a wellness program for the government. This is how I would be thinking about it. And just have a chain of, you have like a fucking assembly line. You know, you have your content moving people into like low ticket stuff. Low ticket being like 20 to mid ticket to high ticket to like super high ticket. Let's just call it. I don't know. Yeah, that might work. Because there's like I worked with Wes Watson. I'm not sure if you follow him. He has an interesting business model. He makes 2.5 million a month. Wes Watson.
Wes Watson.
He's on YouTube, Instagram, fitness guy. He started off selling fitness, and then he started.
Is he also on Twitter or only?
No, he's not on Twitter. He's on YouTube and Instagram and maybe TikTok. But he just has a massive personal brand. Oh yeah, masterminds. I forgot a mastermind on here. $20,000 mastermind for the year. So Wes has a $49.
Like a hefty following. Nice.
Wes has a $49 per month thing. I think it has like 12,000 people in it, if not more. Wes has a $297 per month mid ticket, which has I believe it's over 7,000 people paying that. And you can pay it for the year up front, which is $2,000. He has different price points, which he just puts out there. He doesn't fucking like do sales calls. That's the other interesting thing. His business is like just him. He has high ticket. He has like a $3,000 per month thing, or $20,000 for the year. And he has I would say he probably has over 500 clients in that, if not maybe more, maybe less. He has a mastermind, which is $15,000 a pop, where you come to his mansion for a weekend.
Hell yeah.
One weekend thing. Damn. And he has one-on-one coaching for mindset, which he charges $40,000 per year, or $6,000, I think, per month. So $6,000 per month, or $40,000 per year. God knows how many clients he has that. He's like works with like people of all levels. So he has like this whole kind of pyramid thing. He also does speaking gigs, and he gets paid to go on people's podcasts. He'll charge like $25,000 to go on a podcast, or $15,000 or whatever. Speaking gigs, he probably gets paid like 40 or 20. Yeah, let's call it 20. And the other thing is he has a book. You know, he wrote a book. I think it was $20. I have it. It's a good book. Wes is doing numbers, bro. He's doing fucking numbers. He's the guy that you want to model if you're a fitness guy.
That's insane. So he's making like 30 milli per year, right?
I think he said he did 2.5 last month, yeah, and like 80 to 90% profit.
No sales. That's a huge margin, bro. That's a huge margin.
Yeah. So his prices are really simple too. It's like $297 per month, $750 for 3, $1,200 I think or $12,500 for 6, $2,000 for the year. And for his high ticket, he just adds 0. So it's like $3,000 per month, $7,500 for 3, 12.5 for 6 months, and then $20,000 for a year. And just tells them in his content, yeah, it's this, boom, boom, boom. He's on a podcast, it's this, boom, boom, boom. He just rattles off in the stories, and then his whole philosophy, which I buy into, is like it's like I would call it front loading the value with content and brand, and just being omnipresent, meaning like always in front of them with ads, like like he does have retargeting ads stuff, but it's all content really. Being on podcasts, being super fucking omnipresent on Instagram, and just like hitting them every single day with value, and just having high quality value or high quality content. You know, like speaking. A lot of people just are on Twitter like typing away, but like you create your brand through speaking. Why I've been doing 2 reels a day, and why I'm starting to do YouTube and stuff. But anyway, some cool stuff.
When this sounds great, like I don't know what is the like a realistic time horizon to get there, but it would be definitely the goal to hit that in my 20s. And by the way, I'm 22.
Oh, dude, man, you got so much time. It's crazy. You just don't quit.
Hopefully,
just keep pumping the brand.
If the Pablo doesn't kill me until then, I'm all set for life.
The what? Sorry.
The Pablo's the Danish Zin, which is like 3 or 4 times stronger than yours.
Yeah, that's crazy. People are like, you do 14 milligrams. Like, that's crazy. I think normal Zin's like 3 milligrams.
Bro. And there is like a stronger one, even stronger than this one. I know one with 100 milligrams called Iceberg. Bro, that put me to sleep. Like, it was like, immediately when I took it, I had to take a massive shit and I fall asleep in the toilet. So that was like,
no way.
Okay, my threshold of tolerance stops at the Pablo. But yeah, if I'm allowed to, and probably yes, because they don't check it at the airport, I will sneak out a couple to Paraguay. We will try that together. Bro, you're going to be flying.
Bro, we got to do it. I'll die, but fuck it, dude. I was going to show you this thing, like, really quickly for selling, which is kind of cool. So when I sold this program, I called it Get Leverage. Can you see it? This is the stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided I didn't want to do sales calls, but granted, it's not high ticket. I think I charged $2,500 US for it. I got a few people said, yeah, I'm in totally. But I thought it was pretty cool at the time. I wrote this like 2 or 3 years ago, and people are only now starting to do this. I had a little diagram. I broke up the 3 main problems of like people that don't have leverage. You know, here's how I fix them. Here's what you get. Da 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 da. There's a guarantee. Kind of future facing through a lot of stuff. Gave them like, hey, best case scenario, it works. You make all this money. Worst case, I give you a refund. I give you $20 extra for beer money. Where do you think we should go from here? If you want to work together, say I'm in. Send me a DM. And so, it's cool setting up assets where you could potentially sell without even getting on the phone. Like I could turn this into like a VSL. I could just screen record and walk through this.
Yeah, it's like a proper end-to-end sales ladder. So yeah, for
totally.
sure.
Yeah, I could just literally talk through the whole thing and then just be like, yeah, here's what it is. If you're in, just let me know. And then I could just say
YouTube ad or something.
I could do a YouTube ad. I could do any kind of ad. I could just say, hey, I could DM people like, hey, I created this 18-minute training or this, however long it takes. I think about 12 minutes. I walked through it earlier. Maybe just under 12 minutes. I created this 12-minute training on how you can create like a high leverage offer or turn your business into like a high leverage business model or something. Would you like to check it out? Or I could put it on my YouTube, or I could put it on LinkedIn, or I can put it on fucking Facebook, or I can link it on my Instagram. And then people, you know, if I put it out there, I was like, hey, if you want the document, maybe I wouldn't put my price in it on the video. I would just say, hey, send me a comment details, or send me a DM saying details, and I'll send you the document, which has the price for it. I don't know. Anyway, I would, yeah, that's probably what I would do. But anyway, there's all kinds of ways to sell without getting on sales calls too, if you're smart. So
yeah. So that's something I actually have never tried for high ticket before, to sell without a sales call. Of course, at some point, I might be able to get there because I know that, for example, Tyler Todd is doing that, Zach Homel is doing that. They are selling on the phone without
Yeah.
getting on like a Zoom meeting or anything. And it works just fine for them. They're making like 100K a month. And I was like, okay, if
Yeah.
it works for those dudes, then it really just comes down to the assets you have, the sales assets you have, the brand you have,
Totally.
of course. Everything is an asset.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that because I like that was the training that I did. Must be on my laptop. But anyway, dude, I think we've talked for a good amount of time.
Yeah,
So
almost 2 hours. But yeah, I really appreciate you,
uh,
man. And thanks a lot for this because just on this call, I got so much information. I think I will have enough homework with it for the entire weekend. I'm gonna be, if you can send me over the recording, I will take a couple of
for
notes. I
sure.
will reorganize my script and all that stuff. Bro,
Yeah.
just
What was most useful or valuable or I'm curious.
the most valuable was, so first going through like the bottlenecks of my script. So where it could be optimized, showing me a lot of frameworks which I haven't even heard of before. Something which could be very useful for me, identifying where the bottleneck is. And I also like, personally, I really like at the end this kind of running down the numbers and like opportunities of diversification because most sales guys are not talking about this. Most sales guys are talking about closing. They're not talking about
Yeah.
qualifying. They're not talking about setting. They're not talking about um, lead nurturing and stuff. And also, they're not talking about like product diversification, which is cool because for most beginner offers, they don't need to diversify. Yeah, I don't
No.
even need to diversify it either. So I'm not at that level, but I know that soon I will be. And that's
The thing
insanely
is with you,
valuable.
big thing with you is going to be your lead generation. I think. What is your main like lead generator? Like, what gets people to like raise their hand?
Well, it's any kind of Twitter content I'm putting out. So right now I'm not monetizing from Instagram or from YouTube yet. I'm just banging out content. But when it comes to Twitter,
Okay.
yeah, that's my main lead generator. A couple of good threads, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes a couple of hand raisers.
No giveaways or like no like
Lately, I haven't been doing too many giveaways. And to be honest, I
this is what I
used to
would do.
do one per week. So I had like 20, 30 giveaways in the first 6 months of 2023. And out of all of those giveaways, I only had one client come in. So it wasn't like a good lead
Yeah.
generating vehicle for me.
Yeah, dude. It's interesting because a lot of it depends on the messaging, right? So for example, like I looked at this guy's opt-in page. He's getting emails, and his messaging was like, discover how you can get this cool thing, get that cool thing, and get this cool thing. I'm like, okay. I'm like, is this going to cold traffic? And he's like, yeah. Okay, what is it? What's the opt-in percent? He's like 1%. Okay, and like, how many leads are you getting? How many are you closing? How much money are you making right now? He's like, I'm making this. Okay, let's try. Let's try to set the messaging up. So if all of his messaging on his opt-in page was pleasure based, I'm like, let's try to make it pain based. Because here's the thing: it's like for leads, the messaging is like, are we talking to the right people? Hey, if you're in your mid 30s and you're like, I don't know, you're a business owner or a father or a parent or whatever, and you're trying to like whatever you're like, if you think of your best clients, like your top 3 clients, like who are they? Like talk to that person and like what problems do they have? And so rather than being like, I'm gonna show you how to get a 6-pack, how to bench 300 pounds, and how to like, have a boner for 4 hours. It's like when people don't know you, it's okay if they know you, but when they're cold, it's like if you stand by the side of the road with a big sign that says, "Hey," like someone's driving down the road, and there's like a fork in the road. It's like you can go left or right. If you say, "Hey, like go left," there's like you should go left. They'd be like, "No, fuck you," But if you're like, "Oh," they have a sign that says, "The bridge is out on the right, go left," then they'll listen. They'll go left. So it's like oftentimes you can get a lot more people just signing up for your shit if you go with like a pain-based approach. So it's like, hey, like here's the 3 diet mistakes that are like sabotaging your fitness gains or something, or the 3 most common workout mistakes which are keeping you skinny fat. Something like that, using like strong language, targeting the right people, and making it pain based is like you'll get a lot more people interested. And once they're in your world, you invite them to your Telegram. You have something longer form eventually, like a podcast or YouTube or something, or maybe you have a book down the road, something. It's like there's like this rule of 7 hours. Like it takes 7 hours of content before people buy from you. Like I can't remember where that number came from, but if it's tweets, it's like that's a lot of tweets. It's a decent amount of emails. But if we have longer form chunks that are like knocking off the 3 big, or like at least the 2 big beliefs before people buy. Like, number 1 is like, I like you. Number 2 is I believe in your process. Number 3 is like, I'm sold on your offer. That's what the sales call is for, or the sales conversation. But if you can knock off the first 2 and then just keep nurturing them with like good content, like, staying on top of mind, and your messaging is good, so you're getting lots of cold leads in too, it's like, boom, you're going to start getting way more fucking calls booked, and maybe dial back into the filtering a bit to get more, like, let's be honest, like the biggest bottleneck is the amount of sales calls you're booking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still the lead flow. So that's why I say I'm mostly in the early stages, I guess, because with a more, I would say a more consistent lead flow, actually, that just brings up the sales experience, because the more I practice, the more I know, the better I am, the more detached I am out of the outcome. I mean, I'm still decently detached, whatever happens, but of course, it's just natural in your subconscious. You go into a sales situation much easier when you know that there's an abundance of leads waiting for you.
Yeah, totally. That's
right?
the thing. That's like the number 1 thing. It's like I just made a YouTube video on this today, so it's still top of mind. But you think if you were like Harvard, you're like someone like if they only got 1 student trying to sign up for their school per year, they wouldn't. They would probably be like, oh fuck, we have to like go and advertise. We have to like go and chase people down. And we got to like follow up with people, and we got to like cold call people. Like, hey, you should come to our school. Like, it's so great. But they don't, because they have that brand. It's like there's prestige if they like if they pay them a whole bunch of money, and like they have an endless supply of people that want to join, or at least they have that perception. And so they're able to be way selective. And if someone says, no, I don't want to work with you, they're like, okay, like you're lost, fuck you, bye. So like that's the best way. If you were to model like a sales process, that's like the perfect sales process. It's like, hey, you have to qualify yourself to me. You have to convince me why I should sell you, not like me convince you why you should buy from me.
Exactly. I love that Harvard video that, okay, you have to prove yourself to come to this university.
Yeah.
And then we maybe allow you to pay us 100K. And then you can come. Yeah.
You're like a club bouncer versus the club promoter. You're like, hey, come to the club. There's free girls and drinks. Yay. It's like, nah, the bouncer's like, you can't commit. You're not good enough. Like, you gotta sell me on why you should come in here. Like, there's cool people in here. You might not be cool. But
100%.
Yeah, it's like gatekeeper versus like promoter. But anyway, it's just that whole thing. It's like if you don't have that many leads, you're like you kind of have. It's just natural to be like, oh well, like what if I split it up into like 12 payments? Or, like you can get weird. So it's like lead generation is definitely the thing that gives you that abundant state of mind, and also, just having a smooth sales process, so that even if I get 1 call per week, if I'm closing at 60%, that's another. It's like 2. That's
2 clients per month. Yeah.
2 clients per month, which is like
that's basically a 10K a month business. Yeah. So that's already something. By the way, what is your like number 1 lead generation process?
I mean, I'm going to start running Instagram ads. Most likely, just like a follower, run like a profile view video. I filmed some in Dubai. I actually uploaded them on a lot of them on my. I got this one. Oh wait, it's not playing. Hold on. Play, son of a bitch.
This is what happened.
Wait.
The biggest cause of burnout for coaches is what?
All right, great breakdown.
Where the next client's coming from. It's been here in Dubai. I flipped a coin last week. He decided to come here on a whim. Why? Because I have the freedom to do that. How did I get that freedom? Because I know how to sell. If you can't get people to say yes to you on the phone, you need more conviction in your offer. You need to make it a no-brainer to say yes to whatever your price is. And if you don't know how to frame it, you don't know how to sell without being salesy, guess what? I got you. Shoot me a DM, say coaching, I'll give you some more info.
That one's different. I have two of them, but it's like, hey, follow me. And then I message them, follow them, have a conversation, basically sell them over the DMs, and then make them an offer, just get them on the goddamn phone. Ideally you have an audience, and then you can do hand raisers, and you can do giveaways and auto DMs stuff on Twitter. And it just depends. Like if I were you, I'd be like sending out emails and stuff too, or like regularly pitching hard in my Telegram, kind of doing like a rhythm, like a give ask rhythm. So it's like if you watch TV or something like that, it's like,
yeah, it's like jab, jab, jack, hook, or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you can be all hooks, like hook, 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 hook. But like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would do like Monday would be like a valuable piece of content out there, like no call to action, or maybe follow me. Wednesday would be like case study Wednesday or something, or like transformation Wednesday or something like that. You're giving proof. And then Friday, just be like a straight up ask. Hey, would you like to work with me? I'm taking on a few more clients for November, something like that. I know some people, they give content all month and they only sell at the end of the month, which is interesting, but there's lots of ways to do it.
To be honest, it's been like a month since I've done a single hand raiser. So that's true.
Yeah,
usually I just
every week.
I just plug, CTA by the end of my threads and long forms, but like an individual hand raiser, it's been eternity since I've done that. Yeah, but maybe I will.
Twitter is your main channel?
Yes, Twitter is my main channel.
Interesting. I mean, we get our clients to do, where is it? In tweets and clients. So we have a checklist that they do. So it's like a daily amount of, it's a certain amount of competence content per week. Whale bait content. You need the whale bait too. That's the other thing. It's like the messaging. Whale bait content, hand raiser, auto DM, get people to raise their hand, certain amount of outreaches per day. I would add, like, I'm always interested in who has my clients now. Not like, I don't want to go cold approach every single coach. I like thinking, who is creating a problem that I can help solve? And so if people are lead generation agencies or content agencies, they might be generating a lot of leads for their clients, but it's like, maybe their clients suck at selling and they don't help with that. So I'm like, hey, I'll give you like a referral for every person you send me. I'll give you like $2,000 or something like that. Make it easy for them, or like make a course and like give it to chiropractors and say, hey, if you have any clients that are looking to get in shape, sell them my course for $200. You can keep $200, but then you get the lead who's like a qualified lead. Then you get them on the phone and close them for $4,000, So like partnerships, that's a big one. We don't like talk about that in Likes of Cash, but that's something that I would be thinking of. So like, I would be thinking of 3 things that, like, if I were to like just go hard for the next 30 days and every 30 days after, is like, number 1 is like leading myself, getting myself in a good state of mind. So I wake up, I move, I go to the gym, I do my workouts, maybe I read a bit, I reflect, something gets me in a high state of mind. And then I go into generating demand, right? And so what does that look like? Maybe creating content, putting content out there, whatever, the hand raisers, the content, following up with old leads, with old clients, with people that I've spoken to, moving conversations along in the DMs, just like, what is my hottest leads, and like working backwards from hottest to coldest. And then number 3 would be like inviting people to next steps, rather than like, hey, we should jump on a call. Like, hey, like invite them maybe to your Telegram, or invite them to watch a training of yours, which is like, hey, it's like the 3 biggest mistakes that are killing your gains in the gym and how to fix them fast. Watch this training. And then that's like a micro webinar selling on your service and getting them to book a call. Or number 3, the invite would be like, rather than jump on his discovery calls, like invite, like just maybe come up with a different name for it and like switch these things and just like hit people up. And then on the conversion front, like selling stuff, it's going to be figuring out a booking strategy, like discovery calls, I guess, or, booking sales calls, finding partners, people to reach out to, and yeah, just making sure that you're hammering on conversations, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, to be honest, I definitely should like up the frequency of hand raisers and stuff like that, and the asks, because to be honest, I haven't done that at all in the last period.
That's
I
a big
always
one.
go ham on content, so that's I'm always like doubling down on volume and also
Yeah.
quality, ideating every day,
Engaging
right?
with other people too. I know you do that a lot.
Yeah, engaging a lot, like building genuine connections, not just writing something for the sake of writing it. So yeah, these are pretty much down, but yeah, I definitely need to kind of like ask more, generate more demand. And also the thing is like I rarely even ask for like I rarely even make an offer in my, for example, in my Telegram channel. So that's also a mistake.
Oh man, that's like the reason why you have a Telegram channel, so you can ask in the private. These people are all interested, and so it's like I would hit up. Do you have a hot list of everyone that you've made an offer to in the past 6 months? Everyone you have sales call with?
Year. I kind of like I have a list of that, and
I
plan to like
do
integrate
this.
them into like my January challenge or something like that.
Do this. Hit them all up and say, hey, what would make? I'm curious. Hey John, how you going? How's it going since we last spoke? I'm curious, bro. What would make it an absolute no-brainer for you to work with me, or something like that? That's one example. You could also, DM people and be like, hey, can I ask you a quick question? Quick cue. And they're like, yeah, what's up? And then shoot them a voice note. Dude. Hey man, I know that we spoke a month and a half ago about dropping the weight, and it wasn't the right time because of the finances. I just wanted to let you know that I'm raising the price for the end of the year by like $1,000 or $1,500, but I'm more than happy to lock you in at the rate that we agreed on, which was this. If you're interested, let me know if you'd be up for that. If not, no worries. Have a great day. And then just fucking send all those out to everyone you spoke to, and you just get people to be like, "Oh, I'm in." Like there's urgency. Like, oh fuck yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds good. Gonna know this now. Man, and theoretically, you just doubled my business in this call. So let's do it. Yeah.
That's what
I gotta do that. And
hit up all your old clients too and be like, hey, what would make it a no-brainer for us to work together again?
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, given the big plans I have, gotta do it, gotta take the leap, and we're gonna crush it also with content on Paraguay. Like just like the background and everything is so much different.
It's the main reason to do it almost. My buddy Ryan was like, did you just go to Dubai just to make content? And I was like, no.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, because
look at like 80% of the reason.
Just the background over there just doubles your view.
My fucking Instagram, I mean, the numbers don't lie. I have this one video that I did on the top of the Burj Khalifa, and that's like my best performing reel. And I have a picture in front of the Burj Khalifa, best performing picture. Where is it? There's always another level. This one.
Exactly. I saw that one.
Yeah. Like, hey, like 44 likes. The other ones get like not. Oh, this one got 9 likes. This one got 4. This one got 4. 2. 0 on this one. Wow, I thought that was a good one. This one got 2. 3. This one got 26. I just posted this one this morning. This one got 0. That's annoying. This one got 0. What the fuck? But anyway.
How often do you post on Instagram, by the way? So how many reels per week?
I do 2 a day.
2 a day. Wow, that's quite a volume, bro.
Yeah, and I'm pumping YouTube now too. I'm fucking going hard on it.
Let's go.
I fucking like YouTube. It's interesting because like if you just I was doing YouTube for years. I've been on YouTube since 2017, but I made a new account, which I should have done with Instagram because I used to make a lot of COVID videos. and I got like super shadow banned. I kept getting strikes against my account. So like, there's a reason why my account is. I've been like, I got, what is it? I haven't missed a day of posting twice, even when I was climbing the fucking mountain in Costa Rica. I still managed to find Wi-Fi at the top of the mountain to post my 2 posts. There's a reason why I have 804 posts now and 570 followers. It's just like I was just posting so much. I used to make these lizard man videos of they're like, I'm Mark Zuckerberg, like a lizard filter face. I'm like, like take the jab. And so I got like hardcore just fucking shadow ban on Instagram. So anyway, yeah, I do 2 a day though. If you scroll down at least until I would say this time last year, maybe December, I haven't missed on the posts. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but I just made the commitment to just not miss it. So if you're going to do reels, I would do like maybe like 1. It's good for you to talk about stuff that's not just fitness. Most fitness guys are too one-dimensional. Like fitness is like it's like a very commoditized thing.
Today I just made like a random rant about taxes on one of my stories. I didn't post it as a reel, but
you should.
It was apparently well received.
Yeah, turn that into a reel then. You say why I'm going to Paraguay, and then just like turn it into a reel, because like what I realize about content, it's like there's what we want to talk about and there's what people are interested in, our audience. So I was like, I'm a sales guy. Like, I don't know if I should talk about these things. Like, how do I like fit?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like
I'm like, yeah, it's like people aren't looking for that. Like they're looking for this, and it's like taking what they're looking for and then directing it to your shit. That's the big thing with YouTube, and that's the big thing with Instagram as well. But yeah, dude, I think I haven't eaten in the past like 4 hours, so I gotta go.
Yeah, sir, for sure, man. But before you go, this was a legendary call, so really appreciate you for that. And before we hop off, we gotta take a picture, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We gotta create a memory of that.
I'll get the
Let's go.
We taking over. Well, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? If you got value from this video, I'd love to know what were your biggest takeaways. Comment them down below. And also, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and also check out this video over here, which is all about improving at sales fast, okay? See you in the next one.